Well, let's talk about Fallout. So we've watched the first 4 episodes of Fallout. We talked about episode 1 last week, so we're going to kind of focus on episodes 2 through 4 this week. So we'll give our scores for them and then move into spoilers and just talk overall about how we're liking the show and some of the standout scenes and what we think of the characters and stuff. So I have my scores for episode 2, 3, and 4. So I'll start. Episode 2, I think for me was probably the weakest episode. I feel like the writing in it was a little weaker, and there were some really silly parts of the episode. Kind of felt Marvel-like at points in not the best way, because I don't really feel like that's the tone of the show. But other than that, kind of a little bit off writing. I feel like the episode was overall a good episode, above average. So I gave episode 2 a 7.
I 100% agree. I think out of what I've watched so far, which is past episode 4, episode 2 was the weakest episode, and I gave it a 7 too.
Okay. Episode 3, this was definitely better than the last one. Still a little bit of quirky writing, and there were some things that I felt like just weren't super clear, but were then eventually cleared up in episode 4, so I don't really hold that against it too much. I think I'll give this one an 8 because I liked it a little better. And it has some really cool scenes. But yeah, we'll talk more about those scenes in the spoilers. So I gave this one an 8.
Okay. And I 100% agree. Same exact thing you just said. 8 out of 10. I liked that better than the other one.
And for episode 4, I think this one gets closer to the first episode in terms of quality. I think I liked episode 4 more than episode 2 or 3. So I have between an 8 or a 9. I don't think I like it as much as the first episode, but it still was really good. It felt like an actual side quest you would take on in one of the games. So I think I'll give it a 9 because I liked it better than episode 3.
Once again, I agree. That's exactly what I was going to say. So I give it a 9. And I actually 100% agree.
Okay. Well, glad we're on the same page. All right. Well, let's get into spoilers talking about this because I want to talk about Fallout. So, spoiler alert for Fallout episodes 2 through 4.
Yes. Okay, so let me ask you this. So, out of the 3 characters, what's your favorite? How would you rank them between Lucy, Maximus, and the ghoul?
Definitely Maximus at the bottom.
I
still don't really connect with him. I still don't really know if we're even supposed to root for him.
Is it the actor? Is it the way he acts? Is it he's just kind of weird. Is he supposed to be weird?
I don't know. I can't tell if it's the actor, the way he's playing it, or the way it's written. I kind of feel like it's writing because he does do things that are kind of messed up.
Yeah, but I don't get it either. And I have watched episodes 5 and 6, and I know we're not talking about that, but I will say he gets a little better.
Okay.
In these first 4 episodes, or in general, even I don't.
Yeah, because what we've seen so far is he gets upset that his friend gets a promotion over him. He probably puts a blade in the boot, causing them to miss out on their promotion and taking their spot. He lets his knight die, just sitting there slowly dying of a bear bite or whatever. He steals the armor. He is rude to his squire that comes, which I guess that kind of makes sense because the squire person was mean to him in camp, but still it's not
a good character writing in a hero story, which maybe is not supposed to be a hero, would be bigger than the squire.
Yeah, I agree. I just don't feel any connection to him. I don't know why we're following him, really. I'm not really rooting for him that much.
Yeah, I agree. As a matter of fact, all the scenes herein are my least favorite scenes. Every single one.
Which sucks, because the power armor should be awesome. And also, he doesn't have any weapons, really. He got a squire, but he had, a pistol with, 3 shots in it or something. It feels like he should be more powerful and more fun to watch.
I agree. And shoot, the squire was more fun than him.
Yeah. Yeah. I liked when the squire was talking about, he's like, yeah, that's why I'm so fat, because they just fed me, and then I was on a fly farm, and that whole part was funny.
It was kind of funny. I will say that the scenes where him and the squire were kind of connecting and stuff, those were more interesting than the beginning of his story. But still, though, it's still, I 100% agree. For me, he's at the bottom.
Now,
who would be your next?
Between Lucy and the ghoul, that's a tough one. I really like both of them. I think I like Lucy as a character more. But with both of them, I'm so interested to figure out what all is going on around them. Like the ghoul, I want to know how he became a ghoul, what happened to him to make him so, like, jaded.
There's so much years and years of, like, how did he go from a nice guy, a nice dad, and they kind of dig into flashbacks and go from where you're at now. And they slowly, I mean, we could talk about it in the next episode, but they do slowly dig into his past more. I agree with you. I think the ghoul's story is the most interesting just because he's kind of the connection to, like, before the nuclear war, and, like, you kind of see his character just changed so much, and, like, it's kind of interesting to, like, why, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
But man, Lucy's my favorite character, man.
Yeah, I think as a
Lucy.
character, I like her. And I like how it's setting up, at least in, like, 3 and 4, where the ghoul is like, oh, you're eventually going to become like me, and she's trying to prove him wrong. And I think that dynamic is really cool. Like, at the end of episode 4, she decided to give him the cure, or the drugs that keep him from going feral.
That was such an awesome scene.
Yeah, and she says, like, the golden rule, and walks away. That was such a good scene.
Golden rule, I don't want to say it so we don't get blocked, but golden rule, yeah, I was like, oh, like, dude, I was like, Lucy is her character. I just love seeing her getting hardened and, like, oh, and I mean, it's sad, but I love seeing it. She's so cool, man. You want to talk about a strong female character? That's her. Like, God, she's awesome. I love Lucy. Can you tell?
Yeah, I think she's a great character. I mean, she's basically the stand-in for the main character of the games. You know, you're a vault dweller most of the time, and it feels like a very good, what's the word? Like, stand-in for that character. I feel like they do that really well with her.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Like, she's almost up, like, learning throughout the game. So, like, her character is evolving naturally. She's going from, like, kind of naive to... She's always had a little bit of toughness, but she's getting hardened. And, of course, she's, cute, and, she's, like... She just has, like, that full awesome... She's just awesome.
Yeah, she's really good.
She's just awesome. And she's my favorite character. And the ghoul is my second, but like you said, for a different reason. But the actor who plays the ghoul plays him perfect.
Yeah, I know. He's so good.
I've seen him in other things too.
It's Walton Goggins, right?
Yeah, yes. I think he was in The Shield. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
I have not, but I've seen him in other stuff.
Yeah, he's in a lot.
He's a good actor.
And I think this is his perfect role. It's like perfect for him. So like you kind of hit it on the nail a little bit. So episode 2, it did kind of feel Marvel-y. Even the bear thing was kind of weird to me. The whole scene was kind of weird.
There were some funny parts, like where the knight is running away from the bear. He's just like screaming obscenities. I thought that was pretty funny.
That one's funny.
Yeah. I feel like the most Marvel-y part was when Lucy and the ghoul are like standing off, and then freaking Maximus just flies in like War Machine, and it just felt so like Iron Man 2.
There's fighting in the background, and Lucy's trying to escape, and
the worst part of that episode for me. Also, by the way, Walton Goggins plays Cecil in Invincible. I did not know.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that. Wow, that's cool.
I think the worst part of episode 2 was there was one point where the ghoul was like walking along, and a big giant turret sees him and starts shooting at him, and he just like runs parallel to it, and it like 500 bullets just totally miss him. I don't know. That just seemed ridiculous.
Yep, I know exactly what scene you're talking about. I will say I like the ghoul in that scene regarding just his humor was funny in that scene. Like, he's sitting next to that guy that's dying. He's like, I'd offer you one, but you got a hole in your throat. I was laughing.
Yeah, there were definitely some good parts about that scene. Other parts were just a little silly, but, still not. It didn't completely take me out of it. That's why I still gave it a 7.
I think what took me out of it the most is Maximus's part. Like, I like Lucy standing up and being naive and like thinking she could stop the ghoul, and then the lady being like, freaking vault dwellers. So like there was moments of that scene I liked, but the overall like fight and stuff I didn't care for. I liked it before Maximus got there and he was kind of shooting the town, except for the turret, like you said.
Right.
But man, is the show violent. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, I know we saw it in the first episode, but it still shocks me every time it happens.
I know, it's pretty brutally violent.
So how did you feel? So when with that scene when Maximus comes in and he kind of like he kind of lifts up his helmet, kind of like Iron Man, like you said, and he tells Lucy to guard the dude. Like, he's like smiling. Like, I don't know, like he seems like he's all giddy over it, which I guess she's like pretty, right? And she's probably prettier than a lot of people up there. I don't know, like it felt like I don't know.
And she's like starstruck by him, like, oh, it's a knight. I don't know how I feel about that. It felt weird.
Yeah, but just in sense of because it was like violent and stuff. So why would maybe I don't know. Like, why would she be starstruck by that?
Yeah, I didn't get that, and I'm curious where that's gonna go because Maximus is not a good dude. But it seems like it's setting up some kind of maybe romance thing eventually, or like I don't know. I'm not that excited
I
for
agree.
that.
That was weird. So I didn't like that. So for the most part, like I wasn't a fan of that scene either. The first 15 or 20 minutes of this episode were the weakest to me. But then after Lucy takes, the guy, I don't even remember his name. Did they even say his name?
I don't know.
I will say I liked the flashback scenes of the guy with his dog and all of that stuff. I liked those scenes.
Oh, I love the dog. I was so upset when the ghoul stabbed the dog. I was so bad.
There's like 2 cardinal rules in like shows in movies. Like you can't kill babies and you can't kill dogs.
Yeah. Well, he didn't kill him, but man, that was sad.
He didn't kill him.
Poor puppy.
I thought he did at first.
I know, me too. And then the dog just follows along with the ghoul who just stabbed him. I was like, I don't know about that, but whatever.
I don't know either. Maybe, I guess he's just trying to follow the scent. I don't know.
I think that is what they're going for.
But the guy got his leg shot off, and they put that leg thing on him, which seemed nasty. And he pretty much said, well, she could take me across and take me away. And so Lucy pretty much is in charge of, well, they had 2 things, right? She needs him to find her dad or to trade for her dad. And he needs her to, well, he said he could trust her. And what was the reason? He said something like, I knew I could trust you. I think it's because he knows that she needs him for her dad.
Okay, yep.
And she took him and they were going across the desert and whatnot. And then towards the end,
there was a really funny part where he's like, oh yeah, I just took a cyanide pill. And she's like, what?
Yeah. He's like, oh, let's take a break here. And he's like, I'm not going to make it. She's giving like the speech. No, you can do this. We'll get through this together. He's like, no, I took a cyanide pill. I'm literally not going to make it.
Didn't he say something like, oh yeah, it was one of Vault-Tec's best inventions or so? He said something.
Yeah, he's like, it was one of Vault-Tec's best inventions. I don't know why they stopped production. It's not like that. And I was cracking up, and she's like, yeah, I need you to chop my head off. She's like, what? Well, I thought that was like brutal. She's like, I have to just take my head to Madal for what's the name? Moldaver, and you'll get your dad back. And this was, I think we said, I trust you'll do it because I can tell you're a good person. You need to for your dad. Yada yada yada. And then she wants and chops his head off, man. And this is like where her character. I started to realize her character's. I liked her character already, but I'm like, yeah, she's down to like do what she needs to do.
And then the next episode's all about like transporting the head and the ghoul trying to find her and Maximus also trying to find it.
So Maximus in episode 2, the rest of his stuff was just his thing his little suit breaks. He has to find parts. He has to pull out his teeth. A little joke there to get some money, and then he gets beat up by some people, bandits trying to take his suit.
That was another part of the writing that I didn't really care for, where they like beat him up and then just leave him there for him to get up again and then kill them. That just seemed a little. Like,
and then they lift him up and push him against the thing why would you push him against the thing he knows how to use and grab and can get into?
Yeah, that was silly. Although, to be fair, the Wastelanders probably aren't the smartest people.
Yeah, I know. You're just giving the writers credit,
I
Caleb.
know, but yeah, I agree it was stupid.
But yes, if you want to rationalize it, yes, you can make that excuse. If I was a writer, I'm telling you, they need to hire you, man. These companies need to hire you to rationalize it.
I can do a good job with that.
So yeah, Maximus's scenes this whole episode, I did not give 2 poops about. Episode 3, he was a little better. Like I think him and the Squire, the scenes made it a little more interesting in him. Like I like the stuff with the Squire where he explained why he beat him up. He's like, I used to get beat up, and I thought it'd be funny. Like, hey, like let's beat up that guy, and he was finally part of the cool people. No one was beating him up. That's why he did it, and he doesn't know it's Maximus in there, so like he's telling the truth, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought that was a pretty good scene.
Yeah, like I liked those scenes, or even them getting all excited that they got the head head and they're on the campfire. I was like, okay, maybe Maximus will turn around. Let me ask you this so I don't spoil anything. What episode did they start focusing on the vault again? Was it episode 4?
Yeah, 4, that was where her brother and her cousin go and check out the Vault 32.
Okay. That stuff is so interesting to me. I loved it.
I really like because the end hook is like, oh, it was their mom's Pip-Boy that allowed them to get into Vault 32, and I'm so curious how that happened and why, and what connection Moldaver has to the mom or whatever's happening there.
What's your brother's name? Norm?
Yes.
Yeah, he is so much more of an interesting character than I thought he was going to be.
Yeah, I agree.
And I could see his character, even in this episode, like, so I'm not spoil future, this episode, you can see his character, he's like growing a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like he might eventually like become the overseer or something. I feel like he could eventually grow to take that mantle as like the overseer of the vault.
Is this the episode where they have like the meeting with everybody of what plans of stuff, like what they have to do? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like how his character is kind of standoffish to all of them. Like, yeah,
he even says like, what I said could upset some people because he was like apologizing to that lady. But yeah, he tells it like it is. I feel like everybody else is more like brainwashed, kind of.
I love it, and I like how they kind of have the cousin involved too. But that was a really interesting scene when they go back and check on Vault 32?
32,
is it 32?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it's creepy as hell.
Yeah,
and
it was really creepy.
What the heck went on there? Like,
that was a really good example of a vault going wrong, because you see that sometimes in the games, and they did that really well. Yep.
Yeah, because it's just so weird, because their vault's like, all perfect and stuff, and you go to Vault 30, there's so many secrets.
Yep.
But yeah, I loved that, and I think episode 4, that's kind of when they started focusing on that, and I didn't think we were going to go back to the vault, and I'm so glad they are still doing stuff in the vault.
In episode 4, the other part I really liked was, I mean, obviously Lucy is a great character, so following her through, like, going into the supermarket after the ghoul gives her up, and then he just immediately faints because he's basically dying or going feral because he doesn't have those drugs. But then we see Snip, I think they called him, that droid guy, which every scene with him, I just thought of Codsworth from Fallout 4, which is like a character, that same kind of robot that you can get as like a companion kind of thing. And yeah, he's a big part of the beginning of that game. And it was so awesome seeing him. And he was like a little off because he was like harvesting organs, basically. So,
what did you say? She's like, I thought I was going to be a sex slave. He's like, what? That's ridiculous. I'm just going to harvest your organs.
That was funny.
That was a good scene. And so in episode 2, we had that scene with Lucy when she has to chop the dude's head off. Mm-hmm. But this episode, I feel like, is the episode where, like, I know I said that's when I knew I like love Lucy, but this episode she grew even more. Like, just being naive. I feel like the moment that changed her was when she had to kill that lady that was fertile, but she didn't think she would. Remember how in that scene where after she gets the robot, she's escaping, she's like, let all of them loose, all the ghouls,
and then the feral one goes for her. Yeah,
and then she's like, stop, and then she shoots her, and then, like you said, she brings out the medicine for him, and she's like, golden rule, mother. I was like, okay, like, her character is, that's good character growth, like natural character growth.
Yeah,
like,
for sure. And I really liked that choice because the guys were like, no, don't let them out. You don't understand. And she still wanted to. And then she saw the repercussions of that. But it still didn't change her. I feel like she's figuring out how the wasteland works without getting too corrupted by it, which I really like.
Exactly. They're not doing like an arc where she starts to get too hardened and, oh, I'm not the same Lucy. She's still her little okie dokie self. Okie dokie. Yep. I love that, dude. It's such a classic character. Okie dokie. So that's, I mean, and it's season 3 with the Gulper and stuff. All that was interesting too. Like you said, better in episode 2.
Yeah.
I don't remember. What was Lucy doing in that episode? Oh yeah, what was Lucy doing in episode 3 again? The Ghoul uses her as kind of bait for the Gulper.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's the one where she like gets up to the water's edge and has that moment with the deer, and then the deer gets pulled away by the Gulper, and then she's chasing after it, trying to get the head. And then the Ghoul shows up and uses her as bait, which then I think
what happens after that?
I think that was like when he caught her, that was the end of episode 3. And then I don't remember exactly which episode's which, but at one point she like gets free of the Gulper and breaks that box And at first I was like, what was in that box? And then it was later explained it was the drugs, which I feel like I should have known, but I just missed it. Which I think that drug is probably rad away. There's a few drugs in Fallout it could be, but I would imagine ghouls need rad away to keep the radiation from turning them feral.
Cool. Yeah, overall, man, like this show is addicting. Like I was only gonna watch the first 4, but I just kept watching. Like I was addicted.
Yeah, I agree. It's really good.
And I will say, so episode 5, I've watched episode 5 and I watched episode 6. I'm halfway through episode 7, and I think the second half is even better than the first. I think the episodes just keep getting better.
Nice, I'm excited.
So I think 2 and 3 were the weakest out of what I've watched, and I think, I mean, I'm not gonna say scores or anything, but I think 6 and 7, like I think besides the first one and the fourth one, like they might be my favorite episodes.
Nice. Yeah,
I think you're gonna really like the second half of the season.
Yeah, I'll finish it up before the next time we record so we can do the whole season.
Yeah, for sure.
Sweet.